the Local Gods. My name is Marco Liu.
And I'm James Hahn.
And today we have a very special guest, Gilbert Galon. You may know him from Tigerbelly.
The way you say my name, sexual.
You may know him from the Casuals MMA podcast.
Familiar.
What else would we know you from, Gilbert?
You tell me, man. I don't keep a track of my Wikipedia page.
Well, I know Gilbert.
You think I'm a narcissist? That's crazy.
I know Gilbert through his wife. So,
Yeah.
welcome, Gilbert.
In a friendly way.
Of course.
Okay,
dude.
good.
I was actually thinking about it before we
That'd be
started.
crazy for like his wife is my ex.
Not in a
I'm
biblical way.
We're here to.
Not in a biblical way, but like.
I'm ending it out.
But I mean that thing we talked about.
Oh yeah.
Anyways.
Well, if we're in Australia, if he said, "I know I root for your wife,"
Yeah.
That's
Wait. What does that mean? I don't know.
in Australia. Do you know what it means?
No.
So like, I've been to Sydney a few times,
Yeah.
and like they would always laugh about American sports. How they're like, "Yeah, what team do you root for?" I'm rooting for this dude. And over there, rooting is to have sexual relations with
so,
someone.
like, to
Really?
root.
That's
Yeah.
Like to grind on them, to like bone them.
wow. We were using really eloquent words
Okay,
like rooting,
yeah.
and then he
That's
was like,
really licentious.
you mean the largest bone?
Use big words.
I'm just trying to get to the point.
Yeah. That's
So-
interesting. Rooting. Okay.
Yeah.
Before we got on air, I was literally thinking when I first met
Yeah.
your wife, I'd have to check Facebook. So that just goes to show how long it's been. At least,
You've known her probably longer than I have.
at least, yeah, no doubt. I think 13, 14, 15 years.
Wow.
Yeah, and then
I don't know. I don't remember when we met.
You know what? I actually can't remember.
I remember when
It's like-
we met, which is crazy. That I know when we met at my favorite local
Yeah.
bar where I obviously have a motorcycle, Bike Shed Moto.
I had a lot of fun.
Shout out to Bike Shed Motor
Shout out
Company.
to Bike Shed.
Yeah, that
A
place is
local
nice. I like
institution.
it.
A local institution.
local
from Los
institution,
Angeles. Yeah. But I literally can't remember. You just like appeared.
Had to be like Asian food. It's somewhere. Like a
Like one
restaurant.
of his excursions that he took people on.
Oh, was it at that Vietnamese grill place?
Oh, you mean Ockenlau?
Oh, yeah. You
the
don't have to say it.
seafood
You don't have to say like guacamole. Yeah, is it that?
This dude.
I don't know.
Hey, that's pretty good.
The tone of this podcast is going to be very different from
pretty good.
our other podcasts.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Dude, he's good. I'm convinced, dude.
Gilbert is a natural. And if for everyone that's watching or listening right now, if you end up hating this podcast,
It's me.
blame
I
Gilbert Galon.
It's me. I apologize to everyone.
Because as Gilbert said, basically the entire duration of me knowing Gilbert was him talking me onto the ledge of jumping into podcasts.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, I think that's one of our early conversations, right?
I don't think because I mean no disrespect. I'm not an avid listener to Tigerbelly. So
So much disrespect thrown my way.
I just knew like Gilbert. Well, you know what? I honestly knew you as? I knew you as an actor producer.
That's right. Yeah.
And something your wife would always say is you could do everything that Yoshi Sudarso does. You just don't have the body of Yoshi Sudarso.
Oh my god! I wish we could pull up a photo. Do you know who that is? Yoshi.
No.
Oh
He's
my!
a Power Ranger.
It would be so funny if he saw the photo because it is true.
Oh, should we pull it up? Can we pull up the photo?
Can you do that?
Well, I mean, I think we can do it post.
Post? Okay.
But yeah.
Basically, shout out to Yoshi Sudarso. He's like just a Cambodian model that we all kind of know out here in LA. Like
He's Cambodian? I thought he was
or
Indo.
Indonesian.
You are the worst Asian,
We were
dude.
talking about donuts earlier, and you had the pink box. So the Cambodian pink box was in my mind.
Oh my goodness.
But yes,
yeah.
yeah, that's how we met.
Yeah, and then acting. Like, how much of that do you do? Because like I know you do a lot of podcasting.
Yeah.
But I know in your heart of hearts, you just love doing creative things. You love connecting with
Yeah.
people.
So I think most people know me as like a podcast producer. Like
Yeah.
now these days, that's kind of what I do. But when I first started, it was the acting. Oh, sorry, let me turn that up. That is rule number one. Edit that, keep
So,
that in, and then zoom up
This
on
guy
my
is
face.
supposed to be like our OG, our pro that's supposed to show us the ropes, but I don't know, man.
Yeah, let me close that deal with China. Great. Anyways, no, so I started in when did I started off as an actor, right?
Yeah.
So that was 2000 maybe 10.
I forget. So you're not local to here, right? So
I'm not a local gods.
you are now.
I'm so
clearly.
curious to also know what the name is. I'm like into it. I want like a shirt.
Oh, well, funny you mentioned that. But Yeah. So where did you grow up? Where were you born? Where did you grow up? And how did you get out here to LA?
Okay.
Specifically just for acting? Or?
Yeah. So I was born in Chicago. So that's like the immigration hub for my my grandparents. They basically were the first ones to come over. They came to Chicago like in the 70s, I believe. Basically, these two Filipinos, grandma, obviously a nurse, green card, come over here. And they came in shorts during a Chicago blizzard. Like they just didn't understand the concept of like what it is to come to the United States. So they all got like
They're
sick.
packing for a vacation.
Dude, they literally moved here thinking like, oh, it's gonna be like the Philippines, and immediately Chicago blizzard in shorts. Wow. Got sick, and then from that, from point A to point B, basically brought the rest of the family over there, all the aunties, the uncles, everyone in the kind of like in the medical field. So that became like the home base. So that's where I was born. So I was born in Chicago, and then around 1994, like maybe 2 years right before the 96 Olympics, before Atlanta became, you know, the hub of the South, my dad got a job opportunity out there with Amoco, which is like the old, the original company of BP. So it was like petroleum, but they did other things like plastics and other industries within the company. So he went out there. Both my parents came out there, and then that's kind of where I grew up, was Georgia. So went from Chicago to Atlanta, grew up, then come around college, I got into a smaller school in North Carolina called Western Carolina University. So just to paint a picture, that's like roommates, Confederate flags, me, boat shoes.
Like no bullshit. This is like literally what you're saying.
Oh yeah, like yeah,
5-inch seam.
5-inch seam. Oh, see, he's also from Georgia, so he did the white boy look too, country club look.
Did I?
Short Sperry's. I wore Sperry's. Always Lacoste or Ralph Lauren, and always a backwards golf or Titleist hat. So that was kind of
backwards is key.
Yeah, I looked like I was in a frat, but I was never going to be in a frat. So I just had the look of a frat.
You didn't have like curly hair?
No, they didn't have DEI.
You didn't have the right quality for alpha whatever.
Yeah. Alpha whatever. Start that podcast.
For sure.
And then I went to school for pre-law because my dad was a lawyer and a mayor in the Philippines. And my mom was
mayor.
Is your dad Pacquiao?
Yeah, so my dad also boxed. He had this white trainer, and then he also beat Oscar De La Hoya.
Wow. Incredible.
No, he was a mayor of his town, so he was in politics. So that's kind of like, I guess I'll do that. You know, I was kind of one of those like high schoolers, and people in school just sucked at school. ADHD, didn't know about it, so always just daydreaming about things. Like actually a lot of entrepreneurial dreams as a kid. I always wanted to open up like a Japanese like snack store, a Jamba Juice.
Why Japanese?
We'll circle back to that.
Are you just trying to offend as many people as possible over the course of this podcast?
I felt like Japanese food in Japan was very popular growing up. Pocky specifically. So basically, I would just sell like things that you would find at a now Japanese snack store.
Yeah.
Anyway, so we were. I was in school, kind of lost. My mom was a computer science person major, so I had switched majors. I was really just jumping around, trying to find out what I wanted to do, even though I knew what I wanted to do, which was not be in school. And I knew I wanted to do something with acting. So basically I told both my Asian parents that I was going to drop out of school. And I was inspired from Emma Stone.
What?
Yeah, I know, right? You thought I was going to say like some kind of Asian actor.
Like
So it was Emma Stone. Here's why. I remember when I was like thinking of the idea of dropping out of school to pursue acting. I was like, okay, where do I start? How do I figure this out? So Emma Stone, I think I also had been inspired by the film Superbad. She was in it, but also I was like, oh wait, I'm a fat guy. Jonah Hill's fat.
Oh, geez.
I can do what he does because I think it was like when Hollywood was getting more realism with like their casting. It was like not like our parents grew up with, like, you know, male models and female models that were actors. I was like, oh wow, fat guy can be an actor? I could totally do that. So I looked up online and I read a story about Emma Stone that when she wanted to be an actor, she really had to like tell her mom, like, this is what I want to do. I'm going to be convicted in what I want to pursue. So she made a PowerPoint for her mom. And she made that PowerPoint, like, this is how much it's going to cost. This is what I'm going to do. If you move with me to LA, like, these are the steps. And then I'll like win an Oscar or something like that. So I was like, whoa, I'm going to do the same thing for my non-white parents, for my Asian parents. And they'll also have the same result as well.
What could go wrong?
And they'll support me.
What could go wrong?
So basically flunking out of college, I was photoshopping my grades for the first 3 semesters.
Wow. Dude, that takes commitment and skill.
Yeah.
So good for you.
Yeah. Very sinful behavior for sure. So I would, they thought I was like, oh, he's not doing well. He would get a C or like a B, but really I was just getting all Fs. Because I would just,
That's cheap.
I would literally just daydream.
You're making your parents throw money away, essentially.
Yeah, and that's actually the truth behind it. I felt terrible about that, and actually it was a larger low point in the story with that. But long story short, to answer your original question, that's how the acting started.
Wow.
Was just seeing like I want to do that. I don't want to be in school, so basically made my own PowerPoint for my parents. But I brought them to a Japanese restaurant, a sushi spot in Alpharetta, Georgia, because I did not want to tell them at the house where things could happen to me. I wanted to tell them that I was dropping out of school in a public place.
So they couldn't attack
because
you?
you guys know the Asian, like they won't do it in front of people. They need to keep that on the DL.
My goodness.
Right. So at this restaurant, I basically pulled out a giant packet I printed out of like, hey, this is how much it's going to cost. These are other actors that did it later in their life. And I even had a list. I think I found a list of actors that didn't graduate school. So like Brad Pitt. Like, I'm like naming all these like
Household names.
Household
Yeah,
names.
yeah.
I'm like, see, they did it. I slid that to my parents and said, hey, I wanna leave school and I wanna move to Chicago. I think that's where I ended up saying Chicago because of Second City. So I did research where it's like, I don't want to go back to like theater school. I didn't want to do that. I wanted to like just get out there and start doing it, auditioning. So I was like, okay, I love Steve Carell, Tina Fey. Those are like, they started in improv, but now they're actors. Like, where did they go? And they came, did some Google research. Oh, Second City, Chicago. I was like, perfect. My grandparents live in Chicago. All my family's there. I can live with them. I was like, this is perfect. My mom's going to love this. So as soon as I told her all, I gave them the packet, gave the whole speech. I'm like, they're going to be like, wow, look, he really planned it out. He thought it through. Our son's a go-getter.
He's a trailblazer.
Yeah, he's a trailblazer. He's really good at Photoshop. So good at Photoshop. He deceived us. They sat in silence. It was basically a whole dinner. They like essentially sat in silence.
Was it a big restaurant?
It was a big restaurant. It was next to an AMC. I remember it.
Would it have been better if you came out as gay to your parents?
I think they probably thought I was. I'm Filipino, bro. I'm Filipino, dude. You don't think they
two go
you don't
together?
Think the one kid that was like
acting?
this all the time? Like this kid, they didn't
Okay, that
question that one. You're like, no, that one.
That one might put you a little over. Yeah.
That puts over the top. That's just like charisma.
So one and the same.
Yeah, one and the same. So I think they kind of just sat there in silence. But eventually, I had like convinced them like, look, I'm gonna leave school here, but if you let me live with Lulu and Lola, they can watch me, and I'll still do online classes at Georgia Perimeter. So then I moved to Chicago, and that's kind of where the acting journey started. And obviously did not do those online classes, flunked all those too, because your boy was out there making make-believe on stages at bars in front of two-person crowds.
Wow.
Yeah, so that's how
Trenches.
it all started. Emma Stone, Superbad, PowerPoint, moved to Chicago, start Second City.
Dude, I'm honestly so fascinated because I knew you were well traveled within the States, but I didn't realize you had bounced around like a pinball across the country. That's crazy.
Yeah, Chicago. Yeah, it's weird. Like, I'm curious about because you're from here, right?
Born and raised, man.
Born and raised. You no,
I'm not.
Georgia raised.
Well, I was in Georgia for a decade, but I'm really from Maryland.
Okay, so what do you see? That's interesting because I'm from Chicago. I moved to Georgia, and I'd always tell people, "Oh, I'm from the Midwest. I'm like a Chicago guy." Chi-Town, Chirac.
Yeah.
Let's go,
Southside.
You in Chirac?
Yeah,
dude? Like,
Chirac,
what-
Jordan. I'm like from the burbs, the Asian
Yeah,
burbs
I was like,
in
all
Illinois.
the cross streets.
Yeah, north.
You're north side.
Yeah, I'm definitely north side. I live in Wrigleyville, my 20s. And then when I moved to LA, I would tell people like, "Oh, ATL." Or when I moved back to Chicago, I tell people ATL from South, Southern boy. Then I moved to LA. Then depending on who I was talking to, I would either say, "Oh, I'm Chi-Town," or "Let's go Atlanta Hawks," "Let's go Falcons," depending on. So I had like an identity.
High
When you say
level
that,
code switching.
I had an identity crisis of like not my Asian identity, my identity of like what part of the region do I identify with, like South, Midwest, Chicago kind of vibe, or like here.
I totally understand.
So I would say generally now I go back to my roots. I say Atlanta.
Okay.
And that was my formative years because that was like, I guess you could say Chicago was my 20s. That was like the hard knocks growing up, forming somewhat of an identity. But like growing up in the South, that's kind of like, I would say y'all. I still say y'all all the time. And so I don't know. I just feel very much attached to the South. And I love Stone Mountain and the Confederate flag as well.
You do?
No, bro.
I just want to clarify.
No, bro.
I want to clarify.
Tattoo.
Ladies and gentlemen. So, yeah, I mean, I think that's one of the core like principles of why we're even doing this podcast, because we loved talking to Asians from different parts of the country about their experiences. Because I think growing up in Orange County specifically, being Asian is just like normal. Like there are so many parts of Orange County specifically where everything is run by Asians, like specifically Vietnamese, right?
Like where you live, what is the predominant Asian? Or growing up, did you even see that? It was more just like, oh, just Asians.
Brief history of Fountain Valley, which is the city I was born in, my hometown. When I was growing up, it was basically like a white, like kind of blue collar, but still middle class working town. Kind of a residential community. So people would have homes there, but there wasn't much of a retail type of culture. And it really wasn't until the Vietnamese community started moving more and more into the quote unquote white parts of Orange County that it became really diverse, where you have amazing restaurant empires like the Key Concepts Empire.
Really diverse, or it just become really Vietnamese?
It's Vietnamese Beverly Hills. I will never.
So not diverse.
I will never these two folks don't understand when I make this distinction, but I will always go on my way to say that Fountain Valley is Vietnamese Beverly Hills, because if you know the lay of the land of Orange County and the socioeconomic levels and the subculture,
that's where the money's at.
It's where the up and coming money is at. Because I think people with real money, like folks that came over after the war but still came with like business sense and like and some type of connections, they would end up in Newport or Laguna real quickly, or if not that, Huntington Beach. But then Fountain Valley, over the course of my adulthood, really became this upper middle class goal for a lot of the Vietnamese community, where proudly say that Fountain Valley is Vietnamese Beverly Hills.
Sidewalks are nice.
Yeah.
Well paved.
Well paved, nice restaurants, friendly people.
Beverly Hills, more like Irvine.
No, Irvine, you don't want to get me started on Irvine.
Okay, we won't then. We'll stop there. Because I saw Mark's eyes start shaking.
The stain.
And I was about to get a TED Talk.
was starting.
They're doing this.
Yeah.
The rage was about to come out real quick.
So you claim Atlanta, specifically would say like Alpharetta? Or?
Alpharetta. So I claim white suburbs.
Okay.
Hey,
so these two guys.
Nice, bro.
But it wasn't when I moved there, dude.
Oh, it wasn't?
So when we moved there, pre-96 Olympics, like I feel like Alpharetta now is like such a, I don't even know what it's equivalent to here. Maybe like going to like living in the OC, but you know.
It felt like that.
Yeah. So like, but when I was there, from my childhood, and maybe because my scope was so small, I do remember like when we first moved there, we didn't even have a house. My dad just had to get his job. My mom was looking for a job, and we lived at a Residence Inn for a while. So I remember so many like members just living in a Residence Inn, and when we go drive to like North Point Mall, that was like the big mall. God, I kind of miss malls. I don't know. I was thinking about that the other day.
Like going to a mall?
Yeah, but like the old school where like your family goes, you eat at a food court, and then you just
That's just a Filipino thing, man.
Oh shit! Oh god, we're so basic.
Wait. My family, we went to. Well, my parents never had time to go to malls, but if we did, we would go.
Ooh, what's the story about why didn't they have?
Oh, my parents, we've never gone on vacation together. They have a dry cleaners. They're working.
Oh, that's 24/7. Yeah. But yeah, basically, we know Mark definitely always had.
With my family, I'll just put this: like I literally overheard my mom. Literally heard my mom say in a prayer meeting among other older Chinese Taiwanese aunties that growing up she felt like spending money was a sin. So if you grow up with that type of mentality, you're not going to spend a lot of time in malls. So anytime my family, it was either me and my dad going to get something, or me and my mom, and it was like a beeline. Like we know what we're going to get because we're probably going to have to pack a care package for folks in Taiwan. Yeah, and then we're going to go get the thing and then leave. So the idea of like
the mall
spending a whole day,
a sin. That's you know what that reminds.
Not the mall. Well, spending money is a sin. And where do you spend money? The mall. Right?
Yeah. Wow, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Because that was our heaven. So our parents' mall theology was very different.
Haven as well.
Haven, yes.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
But yeah, so wait, I forgot what I was talking about. We got to malls. Alpharetta.
Alpharetta.
Yes.
So Alpharetta, when I lived there, it was like, I remember going from like driving Residence Inn, or if like we go to the mall to eat, I would just see farmland. Like actual farms.
Oh wow!
Like I remember still like main roads now where it's like it wasn't like too rural, but I do remember like wow, there's like cows, like in a farm, here while going to the mall. Like cut to now, it's like there's a Topgolf, like next to where the farm used to be.
Were you like eating hot dog on a stick and a cow was like chewing cud like across from you?
I mean, it could have been that. It could have happened, but like that's what I grew up with in Georgia. And then there was some switch. I don't remember in my mind, but like
White Flight. I think White Flight happened.
Oh, White Flight. Or actually, I would say Indian Flight.
Oh.
Because all these corporate companies after the Olympics are opening up all their offices there. So like I remember the Indian, like we had I got Indian neighbors and just it became really diverse actually. Like sure, it's still white and black and Alpharetta.
I know what you're saying though.
But like there was like what was this random like shift? Because I just remember being like going to restaurants and being like the only Asian family, and obviously there was no Filipinos or rarely any. Like even at a Catholic church, we're like one of the only Filipino families. Everyone else was just
You're kidding.
White or black.
You know, I think right now, if you look at the demographics, there's a good amount of Filipinos in the Atlanta metro area now, but it wasn't like that when you were.
No.
Wow.
I'm sure, definitely is now. A lot more Asians, and then
for sure.
like neighboring cities, Koreans like took over, like 100%.
They tend to do that.
Yeah, I'm like, where do all these boba shops come from? Not even your drink.
You mean terrible boba shops?
Terrible.
Because the worst boba in all of Southern California that isn't
Is Korean?
A Taiwanese brand like spinoff is Korean boba in Koreatown.
But you're talking about boba time, bro.
Boba time is a crime against humanity, dude.
Really?
It's terrible.
Okay, my taste is a little more basic than his.
Oh, we already knew that.
Yeah.
We already knew that.
I'm not telling.
So this is the dynamic.
No, I'm telling you. And
This is the dynamic where we're talking about Koreans.
Yeah, I have a pretty baseline, basic palate, so I like boba time. Like if this is the only thing, only option you have, it's chill.
Is that how you feel about even like Korean cuisine? Like, would you say you have a basic level? I don't know what that means, but like, could you like, are you happy to be at any spot in Koreatown, or you could be like, this is bad Korean food?
I mean, compared to where you came from.
I mean, compared to Georgia, yeah.
Oh, but Atlanta.
There's a lot of good
I've seen some eater spots.
There's a lot good
in Atlanta
spots in Georgia. I'm not saying Georgia doesn't have good Korean spots, but it's like a handful. Here, you have a huge, you have a huge selection. Yeah. I mean, when it comes to, because there are some spots in Georgia I went to, like up 75 towards like Kennesaw.
Yeah, Kennesaw, wow.
There's this, I mean, if people are from Georgia, they already know which Korean spot I'm talking about because there's only one.
Yeah.
That spot, I mean, it's good enough, but I would never choose to go there.
And they do everything.
Kind of. They do a lot of stuff, and I'm like, it's cool. Some of my friends go there pretty often, and they like it, but I'm not the biggest fan of it. I would never choose to go there. Only if I have to go up there, and I'm like, oh, I'm feeling Korean.
You know, but I woke up this morning, look at the mirror, I'm feeling Korean.
Yeah. I'm feeling,
I never feel that way.
Yeah, but in terms of everything else, I'm like, I mean, if it's high value, if it tastes good, I'm chill with it.
I like this attitude. This is a good attitude.
Yeah, like he wouldn't eat McDonald's.
I think me and you could probably, depending on what our mood is, could come off a little snooty.
Snobbish.
Okay, just to set the record.
I'll admit it.
Just to set the record straight. McDonald's is fine when you are like after a long shift or a long job and you're starving at 2 or 3 a.m.
That's crazy. That's what Trump just said too. You guys have the same thoughts.
You know?
Isn't that crazy?
Insane.
I mean, the way I look at life is like you only have a limited number of meals in life. So I don't like eating the same thing over and over again. I like seeking out the
Are you from here?
treasures.
Are you immigrant or are you from here?
I was born and raised here.
Okay, because that scarcity mindset is interesting.
That scarcity
You have a limited amount of meals. How about you have an abundance of meals, but you eat everything?
Because I'm not an immortal. I'm not a local god like you, Gilbert. So, okay, that brings up a good...
I tried to get him. I tried to get him.
That
you
brings up
I almost got him.
That brings up a good point because I think given what people know you mainly as a podcast producer, especially from Bad Friends, I can imagine a lot of people
Tigerbelly.
Or Tigerbelly.
My
bad.
Oh. Richie's Bad Friend.
Yo.
Oh, no.
Wow.
Podcast
Keep
gods,
that
please do not kill me.
And clip this.
I'm sorry, Andrew Santino. I'm sorry, Bobby. But like given Tigerbelly, a lot of people probably see you as kind of like a referee, right? Yeah. Someone that is keeping the peace or kind of like keeping the conversation moving along. But I see you instigating between James and I'm kind of curious. So like, how do you see yourself in the podcast world?
I don't have to instigate between you two. I already feel attention and I like it.
That's facts.
I think that's just your friendship.
Yeah.
I think this is your friendship.
You read it so well.
Yeah.
Wait, so you were asking me how do I?
Yeah, like, because I think one thing that you kept on telling me when I was just asking you basic questions about podcasting is when it comes to your persona, when it comes to your audience, you kind of just be who you are and then let the audience find you. And sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't.
Yeah, that's okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I think I'm just kind of curious, especially now that you have another podcast with the Casuals, like how is your approach the same? Is it a little different?
Yeah, I would say it's very different. Well, so from acting, and even how I got into Tigerbelly, I don't know if I probably talked about it a couple of times and other things, but that came because I was already acting. I was auditioning. I was in this showcase called the CBS Diversity Showcase, which now is called CBS Comedy Showcase. But it's just a lot of diverse people in it. But
It's cover up.
yeah, it's a cover up, dude. It's just all Filipinos. What is this shit? It's all just a Filipino show.
You're right. You're right.
There's always one
forget.
token Filipino. I don't know if you're familiar with the showcase, or you might know. It's like Eugene Cordero was the Filipino
Yeah,
one year.
for sure.
Tess Parras was one. I was the one for my year. They always have one token Filipino, and they always become successful, except for me. I'm the only one that hasn't booked up.
Are you?
Yes.
Bro,
Yeah.
y'all-
Nico
on the
San-
way,
you know
bro.
what? I'm on
On the way,
local
man.
gods, baby. Let's go.
Right.
But I was doing that. That was like probably 2015, 2016. Yeah, 2016. I was a year into LA, and that's when I started Tigerbelly. So I was still acting, had no producing background. Met Bobby's now ex-girlfriend, Kalila. A mutual friend did the whole, I'm sure this happened to you guys, where a mutual friend's like, oh, my friend's Filipino. You're Filipino. You got to meet my Filipino friends. And like,
Is this a white friend?
Just actually Latina, or as they say, Latinx these days. Latinx. But
I had
La
to
Raza.
figure out what you were saying. Oh,
dude, that's the code word.
La Raza.
Latinx is so good. I
Latinx.
need to use that.
Yeah, because I feel like most Latinos are like, please don't ever say Latinx.
Yeah.
At least in my circles.
Yeah, same.
But she was like, yeah, you should meet my friend. She's like, my friend's like trying to start a podcast with her boyfriend. And then like she introduced me as like, Gilbert's a tech guy, which means I've only helped this friend probably like do self-tapes. And she thought like that was the hardest thing to do is hit record on an iPhone. And
You were her generic NBC Asian.
basically. So she basically introduced me to Kalila, and then we met at, I still remember, Toluca Lake, Priscilla's Cafe, right there next to Big Boy.
Yeah.
And she was just like, we were both MMA fans, so we kind of connected on the UFC and all that stuff. And then she was like, yeah, can you help me with my podcast? I'm like, I don't know too much. And she's like, yeah, it's with my boyfriend, his Bobby Lee. And I was like, what the fuck?
That's very casual.
And I was like, yeah, you're talking about like an Asian actor who wants to be in comedy, not like stand-up, but like comedic acting. And Bobby Lee, I grew up watching him on Mad TV.
Yeah.
I would say probably more than SNL at a certain point when it was just like,
It was the hip show back
yeah,
then.
it was like the edgy. It was
Yeah.
very edgelord comedy for that time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Probably similar more to like what Dave Chappelle was doing, where SNL obviously was a little more safe and more goofy.
Key and Peele came out of that. Yeah.
So I remember she was like, can you help? And then I was like, I've never done this before. I'm not really a tech guy, but she's like, we just really need someone to just hit record. Because we would do it and we have, so breaking here on Tigerbelly like lore, there's episodes that have never been released or can be released because they were just deleted before I got in because it just stopped.
That
working.
incompetent?
Yeah, it's not. It's just like they were using a laptop that would like break or something, or because you're like recording, right? Like, see here, we have this muscular white guy behind the screen. His name is
God
Richie.
bless you. Thank
Very
you.
reliable.
So Jack, 6'4", ladies, if you could only see him, you're missing out.
I thought he was 6'5".
You're right. I apologize. 6'5".
Yeah.
That
Come
extra
on, man.
inch counts.
Yeah,
yeah,
extra
I know.
inch.
Makes all the difference.
He or she. Wait, yeah. So, what was I saying?
You hit record.
Now I
You
started thinking about
his
You
walk
start
abs?
lusting after
I started lusting after this fake version of Richie. Please put a photo up. Sorry, Richie. It's not a fake version. It could be you one day. Potential.
So you're trying to solve their tech problems.
Yeah. So that's kind of how I came into it. I basically had to learn how to produce from watching YouTube. The school of YouTube, which I tell everyone, if you want to do anything, school of YouTube.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
super helpful.
It's all the information is there. So that's how that relationship started. So I didn't know. All I knew was I was coming in there as a tech guy. So I didn't have a mic. So when you were asking like, hey, how do you fit yourself into that puzzle? I had no producing knowledge, none of that. Literally just an actor. That's all I was doing was acting, getting headshots, trying to go out, do live shows. That's all I was doing. So I had to learn everything on the fly. So the first 30 episodes was just audio because I didn't know how to do video. So we were just recording audio. And that's like how most podcasts were before the video aspect blew up. It was just audio. So I'd go there, learn how to use Audition on Adobe, would hit record, and just pray that it didn't turn off. If it did turn off, which I kept doing a lot, which now I realize my laptop sucked, I'd be like, can we stop? And can you take it back to me? Like, we did that so often back in the day where we'd stop. They'd have to re-talk about stuff.
What year was this?
It's like 2015.
Okay, yeah.
It's 2015.
Yeah.
So 2015, or sorry, 2015.
10 years ago, yeah.
This September will be 10 years in Tigerbelly.
Wow.
Congratulations.
Congrats.
I don't know. 10 years, man.
Dang.
It's a long time, dude.
Hey, you look like you've been through some shit.
Hey,
The way your eyes kind of like, what the
hey, we can. There's a lot of stories there.
Yeah.
Sure.
So as we started, I know Bobby hated me. He didn't like me. He thought I was trying to essentially sleep with Kalila.
Oh, wow.
Which is hilarious. And then he also didn't like the idea. I'm trying to remember why like we just didn't connect. Like I was also very much a people pleaser back then. Even like at my core, I can be at unhealthy moments. So I was just trying so hard to get him to like me. It's fucking Bobby Lee.
Yeah.
Matt TV. It's like Asian comedy idol, and he doesn't. And like he's just like brushing me off. I'm like, oh, why?
He's not even looking at
Why?
you.
Like, look at me. Look at me. Look at these dances I'm doing. Look at my jokes.
Look at my dance.
Look at my dances. I'm straight. But I remember, him not liking me and trying to figure out my place there. And really, I started to learn from that grouping was it's their show. I'm not only tech because they would look to me for affirmation of things they were saying. So that's when I first clicked, maybe like episode 1 right away or episode 2. I was like, oh, they need me to like respond. They need me to respond. Doesn't have to be in a like a vocal way. It's more me going like, that was it.
Like for what? What do you mean?
Exactly. Like they would look for me to affirm what they're saying. Like whether like Bobby says something like, Kalila, you're wrong. This is the best movie ever. Right, Gil?
So you were like a living GIF.
I would say because of like improv, I like to say I was the ultimate yes and machine.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it'd be like, yes, you're wrong, Kalila. And she'll say something like, she's got it right, bro. Can you defend that? Like that's how it all started. But I was doing this all off mic.
Okay.
Because when back
They
then,
still needed that
tech
to feed off of each other.
Yeah, tech producer back then, where our goal was just to produce and like
be in the
tech.
background.
Before it became, we've seen now also many different new media things like the office for a lot of these companies become the character in their marketing. It's the employees. So probably 28 episodes in, or maybe like 4 episodes or 5 episodes in, people started complaining like we can't hear what Gilbert's saying, and that's when we got a mic.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, because people were telling. I remember Kalila was like, "Yeah, we need to get you a mic," because people are like, I'm having full-on conversations at this point with them because they're asking me all this stuff, like what do they think about the argument, or asking questions about my dating life. Another story, I got into like pickup artistry. I was a pickup artist before I met my wife. That's actually how I met my
Mystery.
wife. Yeah,
Push and
Post-sister. I was following Asian pickup artists, which I think they still live in LA. They had like a huge YouTube. It was crazy. But
Wow, so many questions.
yeah, there's a lot there. So much stuff there. So what I learned, and as we like develop, I brought in the other producer joined us, George, who really is like the backbone. He came from Maker Studios. He's the guy that is one of the founders of this building. We kind of worked together. We kind of figured out like what our strengths and weaknesses are. I realize I offer, like you said, really truly like a third mic of like keeping energy going, try to diffuse things in a fun way. If it does get tense, or there's been times when it's like we edit it out, obviously I'm like, all right, let's stop the podcast and everyone take a minute because it's getting a little heated.
Wow.
Let's bring back fun vibes, or let's just, there's so many things that we are not in the podcast, especially early on.
Sure.
Where like we are very unedited in terms of the content, but like sometimes it's like, this is not enjoyable for everyone right now. Let's take a break. So I felt like my role was like a lot of relational stuff with Kalila, with Bobby, maybe like surface level early on, but as our relationship grew individually, I've got to know them better. They've trusted me. I mean, these two people were at like my wedding.
Yeah.
One of them spoke.
Sound like a counselor.
Yeah, it's great. I was definitely not a counselor.
Therapist?
Yeah, pickup artist.
Oh,
So these are all law of attractions. I was picking Bobby up and Kalila up separately.
Sick.
Sick manipulation, dude. I like it. I like it, bro.
I like spice, dude.
So that's kind of how my role fit. And then as I grew confident, right, just operating as that mic, we didn't have like how now there's networks, right, to do like podcast producing. Me and George kind of figured it out, and we had to build our own roles. So we ended up just kind of running all this stuff behind the scenes. So I went from someone who really thought I was dumb only can act butt jokes to then going like, oh, I can like run things and help lead things and help. And then George also empowered me in that way where it's like, hey, you're better at this stuff, you do this. I'm better at this, you do that. And that's how we kind of built our cadence. And to this day, I always say me and George, I think we're probably the best duo out there to start from OG days as a producer. Like, yeah, he's a killer. So then like when you asked about like, that's kind of my role, was just very relational. You can say like talent management. I don't like using that word. Sure. Adding value where I can, and a lot of creative behind. And I started doing like all the merch, live show experience was my kind of thing. And then Georgia handles some more of like the YouTube kind of focused stuff. And then for the casuals, that's so different. That's more of like, we're all just the homies hanging, but I still do the producing stuff. For me, David and Nick, to me, are the stars of that show. My goal is just to host, really host. I see. Because that like, I'll do my thing. That's why, but like those dudes are so funny on that show. Like that's why I'm like blessed that they're the guys. And people will still say like I'm on there too, but like my goal is always like, what are their thoughts? What are their opinions? David with the spicy takes, right? David so probably one of the funniest people. Give him any topic, he'll make it happen. He'll make a clip. Nick, he's our actual martial arts expert. He's a black belt in jiu-jitsu, but he's also fun. He's very beloved on his other podcast or show, JK News. Like people call him the funniest guy because he's the one that tries the least. So it's just he's that kind of dude that just will say shit and you're like likable. So to me so my role there is like enjoying doing a lot of the behind the scenes of like, because now it's like something you love, right? It just as a hobby. Now it's like becoming a reality where it could be a business. So I'm like getting to meet all these fighters, getting to talk to all these brands, maybe get to go to UFC fights. So
that's cool.
So dude, it's so fun.
So you're like the Joy Taylor of that show. Do you know who Joy Taylor is?
Yeah, isn't she in some like sex scandal?
Let's move on.
And the question is, yes, I'm in a sex scandal with my wife in a monogamous relationship. That's our scandal.
Spice
is being committed in a covenant.
Oh, gospel breathed.
I call it sex scandal. I call it boring sex scandal.
But going back, okay. Well,
sorry.
Going back to what
him a little bit.
Going back to something I referenced from what your wife said.
Yeah,
you actually are a martial artist yourself, right? At least a stunt guy. So like,
whoa, that's racist, dude. Go ahead. What? Just assume.
No, you told me.
That's true.
It's okay.
I was trying to pit. I thought you were
I've seen you do martial arts moves.
Yeah, that'd be more racist.
I don't know if it was like freaking shamanism or whatever, but like this is martial arts, right? So
actually, I'm curious. When you guys think of, sorry to interrupt, but when you guys think of Asians and like different Asian races, do you think Filipinos, do you align that with martial arts? Like, if you're being honest,
I think now.
Really?
Because the Bourne films.
You don't, but you do.
Yeah. Well, like
I'm more basic.
Yeah. Not only is he more basic, but he came from an area with less like diversity of Asians.
He's like,
but like,
don't they just sing and dance?
That is
the
things they do.
That's all it's two of the three things they do. Yep.
But I think like from the Bourne films, like Batman Begins, I think they were doing like Eskrima, right? Yeah, I mean like working in the film business, I feel like.
But even growing up, you'd probably be more like, okay, Koreans, Taekwondo, Chinese people, Kung Fu.
You're trying to trap me in a racist trap.
No, I'm actually curious because we're plugged. Like we both grew up in not predominantly Asian areas. I'm actually curious. Were you that like? I don't
Tapped
know.
in.
East Asian studies, like at
Bruce
5 years old.
I think if you're a big Bruce Lee fan, you know that one of his top disciples is Filipino.
Damn, right? Dude, you know what's up.
Yeah, because like I think, honestly, if you spend enough time with Filipinos, you know, like in spite of all that happy smiles and dancing and singing, like they can get down, right? So for me, it just makes sense, and like having the physical coordination to be able to dance, like you can probably fight too.
Oh wow, I love your answer. I would love to know your answer now. When you were growing up, when you thought of Filipinos, like we're having fun, stereotypical.
Here we go.
Did you think like, okay, these guys? Because I feel like I hear stories about Filipinos on the West Coast. Everyone's like, yo, they kind of like they get down.
Yeah, gangs.
But like, what was your interpretation growing up in Maryland or even Georgia? Like, did you even know Filipinos growing up?
No, a few. I made the most Filipino friends out here.
That's crazy.
In California.
For a while, it was like only Filipino friends, from what I understand.
Yeah,
that's hilarious, dude.
Like the only friends that really stuck for me were all the Filipino friends I was making in California.
Wow.
Like even though I didn't live here, those are the ones that I kept in touch with, had a good time with, always fun.
This fool, like after I met him, we clicked, and then he was visiting Southern California.
Yeah.
And he was like, "Oh, I'm gonna be down your area. You're like in Orange County, right? I'm gonna be out there." I'm like, "All right." And so when he actually got in town, he's like, "Yeah, meet me up. I'm in this city called Mira Mesa."
Okay.
Mira Mesa's in San Diego, dude.
Yeah, it's a different city.
like
It was south.
I will never let him live it down because I was just like shocked. I was like, this is a 2-hour drive.
Yeah, you're like, I'll be there in 2 hours or a plane ride.
For real, dude. But yeah, I mean, I get it. Like, I think the fact that all the different Asian communities are so spread out, besides New York, LA, and like, I don't know, Hawaii. It's easy to just have a very surface level perception. But yeah, as a martial artist yourself, like, how do you engage with your content? Because I know you already said you're a fan of MMA and all that. Like, what does that give you extra relish as you're talking about that topic versus like the different topics you talk about on Tigerbelly?
Yeah, I mean, to me, Tigerbelly, I'm really just an audience member. So that's just another thing. I always ask, I always try to like, well, I'm just acting, just enjoying it. It's actually a fun job. You literally, minus all like the logistics and like the actual producing behind the scenes stuff. But just when we actually hit record and we're just in the room, I'm literally just an audience member. To me, I'm watching probably one of the greatest. I think he's going to be cherished down the line more so. Bobby, it's to me one of the comedic geniuses. I'm like watching him do his thing. So anytime I'm laughing, people are like, God, Gilbert, shut the fuck up. You laugh too loud. I'm like, bro. Bobby Lee right now is bent over showing his scrotum to, I don't know, like a presidential candidate. Like this is,
Lord,
this is like monumental. He didn't do that, but you know what I mean? It's like the essence of that. Where it's
I like that imagination though.
Yeah,
made that up.
Yeah, but it's just like that's like the energy that's happening. So when I'm laughing there, it is authentic. And of course, sometimes Bobby's like, he'll even look at me and like he's like Bob Eggs, and I'll go ha ha ha. But it's more like just to tell him like move on.
Yeah.
You can hear some of those laughs there too. But he calls it out now, so it's funny now. And he's like, Gilbert, that was bad. Cut that out. And we don't cut it out. We just leave it. It's like real. Right?
Yeah.
So it's
breaking the fourth wall.
Yeah.
Engaging the audience that way.
So so like talking, but so for me it is fun. But like in terms of actually getting to talk about, there's not much I try to inject in there. It's really their show. But Casuals, I really do get to nerd out. So that's really fun. Like just actually nerding about the sport, cracking jokes with David and Nick. There is a different type of when you talk about content, you actually like, or you have things to say about, or just, I literally just I read MMA news like all the time. Like that's what I like take in. But like martial arts though, like that's been part of my whole life. Like back in the Taekwondo, obviously everyone, have you guys martial arts?
I've done Taekwondo. Yeah.
I know you have. I can tell from your posture. You?
I try to learn useful things.
I think you were just eating kimchi jjigae. When I say Taekwondo, he's like, I just eat kimchi jjigae. No, so like karate, did American karate.
Yeah.
It's so funny.
Kempo or like
didn't do no like this is like it's called American karate.
Oh, so straight. See, I don't know enough of the nuances of the.
That's not nuanced. That's just a white guy that called karate American karate.
My bad.
No, but so it's basically American kickboxing.
Okay.
So But they called it American karate. So like, I'll send you a photo if you guys want to put. My uniform used to be an American flag. I literally look like I could have been there at January 6th. Like my uniform was literally like stars and stripes with a black.
Oh, wow.
Like that's how like. And this was in Georgia too, so it's very like American.
How did they even make that? That's cool.
No, it's kind of fire.
Were you saluting?
Huh?
Were you saluting like you're like this?
Oh, of course.
We something else.
Yeah, I was doing. My heart goes out to you.
Oh, I love him.
My heart.
Me too.
My heart
man.
goes out.
We'll leave out the second part. Yeah.
Oh man, I love that.
But yeah, so martial arts has been part of my entire life. American karate, did a little bit of Taekwondo. Used to train. I used to compete in the NASCAR circuit. So, which you might be more familiar with. A lot of these guys, stunt guys, they all did tricking.
Yeah.
So it was like early iteration tricking, and a lot of those guys are now at like companies like 8711 or 87 North. They're like now directing, like that new Key movie. The dude that directed Jojo
Love
Eusebio.
Hurts.
Yeah, Love Hurts. Jojo Eusebio literally used to just be a stuntman, and now he's a director. So it's kind of that era. That martial arts I did was like a lot of people that went into that like karate form circuit. Yeah. And then time progressed. I was like, oh, let me get into more like practical martial arts. Like in terms of like physically practical.
Like if you got into a fight, like
like I'm not gonna like do a kata and then do like a 540 kick and just pose and then break a board in front of someone for fun and like wink to the camera.
Yeah.
Like so that's when I got more into like training with David and Nick, doing Muay Thai, kickboxing kind of stuff. Yeah.
Wow. So you guys have that rapport and connection off camera.
We don't train as much anymore, but that's how we all met. I only know Nick because of David.
Okay.
David was on his first weight loss. He's done so many, but there was the first big one. He started training with Nick. Nick was like his boxing coach. And then he started inviting all his friends, like Bart, the JK guys to train. And I forgot how I got looped into that. But then he was like, yeah, just come through. and that's when I started training with them, and then that's how our relationship kind of formed.
Yeah,
because I think David had done like Tigerbelly early on. Like this is like 300-pound David. I think we called him the human grenade. Bobby called him the human grenade because he wore one of those puffy like Uniqlo jackets. And David was massive, so he just looked like a Korean grenade just walked in.
It was like black.
Yeah, black.
Yeah. I feel like I seen that episode.
Yeah.
Next to our president, I think Bobby may be the best at coming up with like nicknames.
Quick roast. Yeah, nicknames.
Dude.
I would love. Oh man, I can't wait to meet you guys. I wonder what he would give you guys.
I'm actually very curious what Bobby would say looking at me, like, cause I don't know.
I picked that up from him, which I hate because people say I like observe and I start pointing out, like to compliment or either to like roast, or like exaggerate. Like I even noticed I just did it to you guys when I walked in. That's like what Bobby would talk about. Oh my god, why you dress so nice and all this. He would go into that.
Oh really?
And I'd be like, then the complex that's more of a
complex.
I mean, you literally look
at
like
you hype beast.
You look like you run family style. Like
that's kind of a big compliment, though.
You're using that against me now?
No, that's our aspiration.
That's a compliment. No, that's what I'm saying.
You look like you created a really dope food festival, and then you sold it. That's what you look like.
Since we're having you on as one of our earlier guests on the podcast, I mean,
hopefully I can come back again.
Yeah, I mean, like, already I feel like we would want to have you back. But like, what would you advise us as we move forward? And I guess. Like any gems of wisdom.
I've already complimented you guys when I walked in. I was actually a little shook of how nice the set looked because it looks better than our current show.
Thanks to the Seven Ickies team. Thank you.
It does look good. Like I was like, oh, they kind of went all out. And I was asking you about the sign where you guys got it. You guys said from a Romanian, but I thought it was from you've seen those TikToks, right? Like the uncle, his name is Tony.
Dude, I love that guy.
Dude, honestly,
it's me, Tony.
That is the best marketing.
Yeah, he's brilliant.
It's I'm trans. I don't care.
Yeah, bro.
But no, I would say you guys are doing it right. Like I know a lot of people think it's like easy to start a podcast, which granted it is. It's an easy level of entry. Like, you can buy the stuff, you can do it, but. I think you guys did it right. We're like, hey, who are our guests? You guys sent actual emails to people because some people are like, you just show up and they're still getting set up. I think you're doing the right thing. It looks good. I think from what we've talked about privately, I think you have some really cool guests coming up. I think you guys are gonna just find your identity more. Like I just think that this is a great start. This is already ahead of a lot of people that try to start a podcast. No, but I guess the one piece of advice, which I think is for everyone, is don't put yourself in a box, which I don't think you guys have, but just keep reiterating and just find out what's fun to you guys. I would definitely reassess and stop if you feel like it's work. I mean, it's going to be work, but if it feels like, man, I don't want to do this podcast today. If it feels like that, then you guys probably should reassess and see what is missing that's not making it fun for you guys to come in.
For sure.
Yeah.
That's good advice.
And you guys should do segments. I feel like you guys are too fun. You guys can have fun segments here.
Like what kind of segment?
I don't know. You just need to brainstorm. Just the name also lists a lot of fun. This whole thing has like changed.
You like the animals?
Dude, yeah. I don't know. I just know I see a horse. What's that? Is that like a puma?
It's a tiger.
It's a tiger.
Yeah, stripes.
Interesting.
Stripes.
That was a house cat.
Sure. It's a
we can't change it now. It's locked in.
Yeah,
It's locked in, bro.
It's locked in. Let me guess. Those are your zodiac signs?
Yeah.
How did you know?
Because you're Asian guys. You know how many restaurants there are? Like that one Taiwanese restaurant, it was like horse and hoof.
You mean the one that your wife used to own?
Did she own that?
It was a family restaurant.
Oh, I didn't know what it was called. How do you know this?
Back
off. Hey,
encyclopedia,
back off my wife, dude.
Dude, do you know I have a nickname for Mark?
He looks nervous. Please tell me.
Yeah, but he probably hates it. But I've just said it for the duration of our friendship.
What is it?
Call him
Just say it. We'll edit it out.
Marcangeles.
Ooh,
California.
I like that. You don't like that?
I don't even live in LA proper.
I know, but that's a good handle. Like, you got to get more into food content because I feel like you sit in that space already.
It would ruin my joy.
I know, but then Marcangeles is kind of fire.
Thank you.
You don't have to be from LA.
Thank you, Marcangeles.
What are you gonna call your Mark Sun Valley? That sounds terrible.
Mark Sun Valley.
No, it doesn't have a good ring.
It doesn't have a good ring.
Nah, bro.
What do you not like about that?
Mark California.
That's pretty good,
dude.
I mean, I'll share this story that I shared with James as we were prepping for the episode, where I was in.
Hey, here's another piece of advice: get the mic closer to your mouth. So you don't have to edit that hard later.
Thank you.
I was just like, let me tell you a story. Really. Also, I'm gonna whisper it.
So out in Melrose.
Just like get the TVs.
Yeah, Rich, my volume's been all right though, right? Yeah, I project. I also project.
So I was out with a friend out in Melrose, and there's a Nipsey Hussle marathon store there.
Okay.
And I was checking out all the gear, and I was like, man, I really like these Crenshaw hoodies. And you know where I'm going with this.
Here you go.
And I was looking at it, and I was thinking like, man, I'd love to get one, but could I rock it? Could I rep it? And while I'm always happy to rep things that I do have a connection to, like USC, Southern California, Orange County, until I move or stay in LA long term, where I'm like, I have a mailing address here. I don't know, man. I don't know if I can claim that.
Interesting.
Yeah.
What is your aversion to moving to LA? I live here. He lives here.
Exactly.
Do you think we're losers, or what? Or do you feel strong ties to do you like the idea of saying I'm not from LA?
No, I definitely don't feel that way, because I always go to bat for the city and say Los Angeles is the greatest metropolitan area on earth.
You're just saying that because Luka got traded.
Wow. I mean, besides all that, I do love Orange County. And one thing that people have known me for a long time, they always hear me say, if Orange County was good enough for Kobe, it's good enough for me.
Damn.
Kobe was the living embodiment of LA.
Marcangeles.
There you go.
That's what I'm saying.
Yo,
bro.
that has to be your quote in your bio too.
Lord. It is on Yelp, so.
Interesting.
Yeah, dude.
I feel like, so there's probably a couple episodes by the time this comes out. Do people know about you guys?
What do you mean?
I'm curious. Have you have you guys done a solo pod where you've introed who we are?
No.
Can I break it right now? Who are you guys to each other?
Okay.
They're dating.
Sure.
And the podcast, right?
It could start.
I actually don't know your.
How we met.
You actually don't know.
Like why this is even a pairing.
Because the first time I met you was at your birthday.
Yeah.
And Mark was there. And he's like, "Oh, James, one of the homies," and it was basically we might start a podcast. I'm like, I don't even know how you guys know each other. So
I mean, it started. We first met each other. I was performing at South by Southwest.
Flex.
Yeah, and then he was at the showcase.
Spectator, Asian agent.
I was just there by happenstance, because I happened to be doing a little trip to Texas and Louisiana. Terrible drive, by the way, driving from Austin all the way to New Orleans.
I thought it would be pretty, but oof. Okay.
No, I mean, it's pretty on the Louisiana side, but
Did you take it? Were you driving next to the Gulf of America?
No, not yet. No, it didn't exist yet.
Okay.
So, but yes, the start of the trip was in Austin during South by Southwest, and I just so happened to see that there was going to be an Asian American showcase, and there were all these artists that I was somewhat familiar with, but then this one Korean guy that I had never heard of before, and that happened to be James. Basically, I had never seen a Korean American guy that was not all like Dodger cap, big white shirt, baggy jeans, K-towned out. That was like,
God.
Wasn't like
Shots
mean
fired
mugging.
to very specific people, I feel like.
I mean, I'm born and raised in Southern California, but like, yeah.
Oh my God, it's hilarious.
Yeah, I had never really encountered a Korean American dude like James, or I guess his stage name Uzuhan.
Yeah.
And so like he was
Sick name,
He was wearing Atlanta Summer Olympics '96 gear. He was jumping around on stage,
Michael
happy.
Johnson, baby.
He had a black DJ. I was like, dude, I never see Korean guys like you out in LA. So I was really curious.
That's actually interesting, because I don't. Yeah, you're speaking the truth. I would have said that like I'm being stereotypical, but it is very true what you just said, and it's crazy that what a very different archetype you are. The fact that you've moved to LA is very interesting.
Yeah, it's all like a story that's unfolding, because I moved to LA like a year and a half ago, and I'm in my 30s, and I've had a lot of different ups and mostly downs in my career. And I've avoided moving to LA out of my own pride and ego, because I wanted to like make it in where I'm from, DC, Maryland and Atlanta. But I just didn't have the resources and the network and that like your network is your net worth type of idea. I realized, you can't really get that far with who I am. Maybe if I was like a pretty Asian girl, maybe I could have gotten a little more, a little more support.
Skin.
Yeah, but I'm a straight suburban Asian dude, you know, and my parents were middle working class.
Yeah.
You know, my story's not like the most compelling to like off rip. So I've kind of in many ways like had to work on my craft and kind of stay under the radar. And I've built myself kind of this very interesting indie career that has still persistent. I'm still making music. You know, I know a lot of people who've blown up, you know, and are way more known than me, but I guess they don't make music anymore, or they're not as inspired. But I find myself being inspired every year, and that's like something I strive to do.
And that was a year and a half ago, huh?
Where we got closer?
Yeah.
I think starting from like 2020.
Yeah,
when
for sure.
Pandemic friends, I like that.
Yeah, we were pen pals, which
Yeah.
is another trigger word.
Have mercy.
But we
that
were
a trigger
pen pals because we were just pen pals. Essentially, we were like 21st century pen pals because we would text randomly and talk about things like what was it, the Loneliest Americans by J. Caspian Kang.
Oh,
and that's really how I think we got to connect with each other. So
Oh,
yeah.
cool. Can I ask one more question?
Yeah.
Your biggest pet peeve with Asians not in OC/LA, and your biggest pet peeve with Asians from this side of the world.
Oh.
You want to go first?
And don't hold back, guys.
Well, I think it's funny in general
Oh, here we
if
go.
somebody has never like lived outside of where they grew up. You know, so
I've had some I've had some conversations with my wife.
I'm sure.
yeah, it's like, look, I love LA and I moved here.
Great, it's a great place.
Yeah, but it's not the center of the universe. And
It's not.
yeah. And if you've never lived outside of it, how will you ever know? You know, if you've grown up in a bubble, then you know all you know are the edges and the boundaries of that bubble. But to his credit, I would say Mark is somebody who has chosen to go outside the bubble and seek things outside of that.
You're traveled.
But there are a lot of people who don't.
Yeah.
And it's really, that's my big pet peeve about people who've just been born and raised here, never changed their license plate. They don't even know what that feels like. They don't know what it feels like to be the only Asian in a place, you know. I have a lot to say about this, but there are a lot of things that happen in LA where people are like, oh my God, the needle has moved so much for Asian Americans or Asians. And I'm like,
Oh man. Oh man, do another episode.
They have no idea.
yeah, I'm like, yeah, but if you really think it's moved the needle, when I was in Atlanta, when all these things were happening, like good stuff in Hollywood for Asians, I go to College Park, I go to a random wing store, and I'm like, hello, mister, have you ever heard of this movie? And they're like, what? You know, I'm not even going to name the movies because,
You already named it by just saying that.
you know what I'm saying?
You
like,
named them.
none of them will know.
Yeah.
Nobody cares.
That's also a really good conversation about Hollywood and
Yeah.
dynamic.
So it's like my perspective is a little different, and I try not to like speak it too loudly on a podcast. I will, but I try not to say it. Too late.
I try not to speak it too loudly. Cut to being distributed amongst everyone's ear.
Internet lives forever.
But you need that perspective because we're not the center of the universe, man.
No, I would like to agree with that to everyone, not even just Asians. Like it's good to just go out, see something else.
Yeah.
But I think I do resonate with the specific, and that's obviously an outsider coming in too. So I am seeing very much like I always call it like this is not it's like the ABDC world, America's Best Dance Crew. It's like, oh shit, you're like Asians from that world, and then you're still in the world.
Yeah.
That's actually a bad because we were friends. It has nothing to do with dancing. It's just more of like that.
Oh, like on the main stage.
Yeah.
Or how about I just say that it's just the same thing you were saying essentially. It's that like I just see it like, oh, it's like my white friend that lives in Georgia and they're still in Georgia, right? But there is this like Asian. I won't even say like sometimes a little bit like we're from OCLA. We're very diverse. I'm like, yeah, but you're diverse within only seeing this part of the world.
Correct.
So,
Bro, it's
you're
funny
not.
it's funny to see like Californians or California Asians, or maybe I'll just say LA Asians.
How would you call them California raisins?
Raisins?
So we don't get
That's a throwback.
So we don't get clipped out.
Okay. Yeah.
So we're talking about raisins, guys. We're
Just
not talking about
interacting in space. When I go to spaces where it's not just Asians, I think it's funny how I see some Asian folks interacting with like white, black, Latinas, and anybody outside of that. It's quite interesting if you haven't lived in those spaces. You don't even know how to conversate.
Yeah.
Have a regular ass conversation with a stranger. That's insane.
Especially if you layer it in the Asian Hollywood world. That's a whole other element.
That's a whole other episode.
I feel like you can't even communicate with anyone really.
Yeah.
Okay, what is yours? Hit us.
So
hit us.
basically
Us. People that are ruining your city.
Mine is the opposite, right?
Yeah.
So I would say, like as James said, I think if I were to be perfectly honest, after 2016, it was a huge awakening moment where after that election, I was like, man, I need to see other parts of this country to understand how other people lived and other people saw the world, because it seemed so different from the vast majority of people I was around. And I would say if there is a true pet peeve of mine, it's that when a lot of Asian Americans from other parts of the country, especially from the Midwest or the South, where they're one of ones because there are no other Asians, when they come here, there's this feeling that they overdose on Southern California, and they like kind of take ownership of it in a way that feels very corny to me, where it's like,
Ooh, what's an example? I'm curious.
I
want to see if I'm a legend at that.
Well,
I'm wearing like a Luca jersey. And I'm wearing I'm drinking a boba right now.
well, speaking of boba, like that's a good one.
Okay, use that example. Break it down.
So Gilbert's wife loves boba. She is one of the leading experts locally of what is good and current boba.
What is it? What's the new one everyone loves from Taiwan? That one, Ode to something.
See, I don't even know. Like, you have to ask
Hey,
your wife.
you even Taiwanese?
Some Taiwanese will even say I'm Taiwanese.
That was too Richie.
He was saying I need ice water, but like with boba, I've literally seen people like kind of cuss Southern California Asians out and like kind of whine about how like they think they're so good because they have all these different types of boba, and then
you're talking about like outsiders.
Okay.
Okay.
And they'll
outsider Asians.
Yeah, and they'll like point out Southern California's elitism over things like boba or different Asian foods. But then when they come over to Southern California, they're the ones doing all the touristy shit. Overdosing on the stuff that they were mocking us for and saying, "Oh, it's not that great. We have our own stuff." I'm like, come on now.
No, the food scene here.
Come on now.
I would say it's up there.
Yeah, I mean, I'll always stand by the food scene, and I feel like to kind of bridge the gap, if Asian Americans from outside of Southern California and Southern California Asian Americans could just learn to have a little more empathy, maybe we wouldn't be having these petty arguments as often.
But there's no content of the podcast.
Then there's no content.
So let's keep the divide going.
Yeah. Like that one dude, some Asian American dude got flamed, some Korean American.
For
talking
what?
about how like California Asians are elite or supreme or something. You see that?
What's his name?
I don't know his name. It was like on some podcast with like a bunch of young. They were like 4 of them, like 2 guys, 2 girls, or something.
Oh wait, you guys can have your first podcast beef. This is great,
dude.
Beef?
We don't even know these people.
We're gonna make it up right now.
Yeah.
Wait, are they LA?
I think so.
It's the Gen Z kids, right?
Yeah.
The ones that is it? Are they from like are they from like suburb kids?
I literally
are they all like cool, tatted up like Asian kids?
We're not trying to represent Asians as a
UTI?
monolith.
No, not UTI.
Okay, I thought you were talking about UTI.
Oh no.
At least that's eliminated.
Yeah, no. No, they didn't say. That's funny. No,
I look at like 3
They
Asian
look like This one is like they look like they're from Irvine or something, or they seem OC.
There's apparently a really hot Asian podcast. I don't even know what it's called, but it's like literally like college kids from Irvine that blew up, and they have like almost.
Are they called like Living Room or something?
I have no idea.
Asians are not monoliths. Everyone can speak for themselves. We are not trying to be the presidents of Asian America. We're just trying to
our local god. Yes, you are. Stand on your high horse and tiger.
Gilbert Galon, thank you so much for being on the podcast.
Keep it running. Talk shit more.
But we always finish our podcast with 3 questions.
Okay.
But before that, I need to go grab something for you because we want to make sure all of our season 1 guests have a gift. So
may I ask, as an audience member who will keep watching this, you guys are doing this by seasons. How many episodes in the seasons? What can I expect as an audience member?
If we don't suck it up,
you're not going to.
Well, I was going to say if we suck, blame Gilbert because we wouldn't do this without Gilbert. But if we don't, we'll play it by ear, and hopefully we get some support so we can do longer and better podcasts.
Can you tease any future guest?
Stall. Actually, we can't. We can't really do that. But stall while I'm getting the gift.
You could also just edit this part out for pacing. You actually wrap up for me.
Me?
How about the podcast?
I love Gilbert. I love his ass. I want to tap it in the past, in the time zone. I'm ass. All right. We're done.
Leave that in.
There you go. On behalf of James and I.
Oh shoot! That's why you said funny. You guys.
Woo!
This is this is so far ahead of other podcasts I've worked with.
We're just trying to
I do feel like you
put some
guys
thought
are
into it.
over budget, but this is great.
We are over budget.
This is a great way
We're
to start
investing
a podcast.
into ourselves, baby.
Amen to that.
Guys, check this out. This is stitched. It's not even pressed on iron. They definitely paid extra for this. Can I say something to your audience?
Sure. Yeah.
Please like this video right now. We're going to sit here in silence. We're all going to look at our cameras. Hit like right now. Give you a couple seconds. Great. Now that you've done that, I'd like you to hit subscribe with the notification bell on. Let's give them some time.
Okay.
We'll put some background music, maybe some Uzo Han music in the back.
Years I got a chip on my shoulder. I dip in a bowl of bravado, still scraping a bottom. Got an ache.
Now, you're going to comment down below with a question you're going to make your audience ask for engagement.
Oh.
But we still have 3 questions for you.
Okay, we'll do that. We'll do that part.
Okay, we have 3 questions we like to do at Local Gods. First question, where do you consider home?
Wow, I feel like I'm in a small group. This is good. Wow.
It is.
I can pull out a Bible if it makes
Yeah, let's
sense.
do that too.
It is.
KJV, please.
Okay, NASB for me.
What do I ask me the question one more time? I want to really.
Okay, where do you consider home?
I consider home where I feel I can be the most comfortable and authentic to express myself, and where I feel truly, and I mean this truly, at rest. Not from moving, but really heart and mind at rest. It's a moving target everywhere.
Is there a location now?
I think it might be community.
Oh.
That's the home, depending on certain types of communities that can kind of shift and mold. But I think the key thing is being authentic. And this probably hints to earlier, we were talking about my people pleasing. Mm-hmm. And then also, feeling really at rest.
The original question was also like location wise, where do you consider to be home? But I love that answer.
Getting away from the main goal.
No, but I love it. I love
That's
it.
the philosophy.
Yeah, that's the
sure,
philosophy.
sure.
Thank you.
My actual home. Is that what you want?
Yeah.
Is that what you guys want from me?
Yeah, that's what I want.
Great.
Yeah.
There's that shallow answer that local gods wanted.
Okay. Well, second question. What's your favorite thing to eat at home?
Oh, that's very good.
Yeah.
What if I had said my home was the gym? Then I would have to answer what was my favorite thing to eat at a gym. I'm interested in these questions.
I mean, that kind of answers the question. Like, it answers both questions, 2 birds with 1 stone. But what's your favorite thing to eat at home? Wherever that is.
I would say I'd keep it simple. Any egg dish. Or eggs. I would even.
Oh, this boy hates eggs. He hates
I bet you're the
eggs.
one that your people did the bird flu to let us have eggs. Huh?
My people, my parents are from Taiwan.
But where do they all come from?
Oh, China.
Africa. We're all from
Hey,
Africa.
that was a very good yes, and that was a good. That's a good wit.
DI.
I think eggs. I just think like a classic just omelet. Omelet.
Oh. What do you like to put in your omelets?
Always a protein. I like to go bacon. Bacon, green onions, an egg. And if I'm feeling really Taiwanese, I'll put tomatoes and water the whole thing down.
That's a very Taiwanese thing to do.
Yeah. Which I realize my grandpa did it all the time too. But not Taiwanese.
Okay. Sick. Okay, last question.
Oh, here it is.
What is your current favorite song?
Oh man, I hate this because like it shifts. But I'm gonna just say it because the first thing that came to my mind, I was gonna edit that out because it's so dumb. It's only because it popped up on my Spotify and I was working out and I was laughing while working out and it made me lift harder.
Okay.
Is that Bruno Mars' Sexy Red song?
Oh, what is it called? Like Sloppy Wet or something? It's some crazy title.
What's that called? Slappy Wet?
What is it called?
Might as well be.
Because when I heard the song, I was like, oh, it's literally
And I understand it's Bruno's, his
Pay off his debts.
Pay off his debt single with
Type.
And then I understand also Sexy Red, controversial. I heard Joe Buddha talking about it. Not a fan of that. But it's
Who's
only
Joe Buddha.
I don't know. I think I just made up a rapper.
Oh, you mean Joe Budden?
Joe Budden.
Joe Budden. Call Joe Budden.
Hey, Joe Budden's kind of fire though.
And
Pump it up,
I
Joe
ain't
Budden.
afraid of saying your name wrong. Sir, don't beat me up. Just a local god over here.
True.
Just
Facts.
but that song, I don't know why. I was just laughing. I was like, what is Bruno Mars doing? And I was kind of like, he's a genius. But it's also like, this is hilarious. I just started laughing. I was like working out. I was like, this is kind of fun. Because it's almost like he knows he's trolling his audience.
I could see that. Yeah.
Because it's ridiculous what the song is about.
Yeah.
So that would be my favorite song right now. And I can't believe that's on air now forever. Wow. That is my answer.
I love that.
Yeah.
Well,
And also, of course, Oceans.
by
Is that a Christian song?
No,
Not
dude.
anymore.
Not anymore.
by Frank Ocean?
Yeah, Oceans by Frank Ocean. Yeah,
Nice.
thanks for the say.
Oh man. Okay. Well, that puts our time to a close. But we want to thank you so much, Gilbert.
Yeah.
For joining us. We hope to have you another time.
This is fun.
Feel like we could have a lot more combos.
Yeah,
You know?
for sure. And as you pointed out, for folks that want to engage, you can answer those 3 questions too. So, where's home? What's your favorite thing to eat at home? And what's your jam? What's your favorite song right now?
Can I throw a bonus question in?
Sure, why not?
Answer this one for more battling on the comments. You heard their pet peeves. Who do you think had a better pet peeve?
Always.
Oh.
Create an Asian battle on the.
Wait, can we have another question?
Yeah,
Did you
as long as
like
it costs-
Marcangeles? Marcangeles?
Okay, here's the thing. If this video, someone put Marcangeles in the comments, and if it gets more than, let's say, 200, 300 likes, that comment, you have to put it somewhere on your profile for a week. For a week. Do not want the engagement from your audience.
How would you spell Marcangeles? MARC
Yes.
ANGEL.
Yeah, I'm gonna just let you keep doing it because I want to
Yes,
screw it up.
yeah, Marcangeles.
Can you agree to that? 300, 500? You can put it at a high number. This is gonna blow your podcast up.
Dude.
1,000.
1,000
I don't
likes.
think we're getting
Fine, 1,000 likes on that comment, and then Mark has to put it for 1 week on one of his social profiles.
Sure.
Or LinkedIn.
Sure.
LinkedIn is so good.
Why not?
CEO of Mark.
Oh, dear God. I don't know about that part, but I'll agree with the first one.
Ooh.
I like that.
Dude, I love this podcast. Oh my God. I could just like poke fun at him and he has to just kind of take it.
Oh, you could, but Mark can come back.
That's
He
fine.
can slip and come back. I've seen Mark.
Gilbert, how do people stay in touch with you on your stuff?
Well, you guys have my number, so keep in touch that way. Please don't dox me.
Yeah.
You can follow me by watching Tigerbelly. That doesn't need a lot of help. Bobby's a machine there. But if you want to just check out what the podcast we were talking about, if you've never heard of it before, that is Tigerbelly. And then I'd really love for you guys, if you're into MMA, don't watch it if you're not, the Casuals MMA. Record that with David So Comedy and Nick the Ear from JK News. We love that. And you can follow me on Instagram at Gilbits. If you ever need any podcast consultation, you can email me.
Nice.
You heard it first.
Down in the
folks.
description.
Awesome. Well, I mean, dude.
What do you guys do at the end? You guys do a song? What's going on?
I don't know.
We just cut.
We just say goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.